In video one, I shared the Fed's announcement about it being time to drop interest rates due to the break in the labor market being the break investors have been waiting for. But what's often assumed is that when the Fed drops interest rates, that it has a direct correlation to mortgage rates. Earlier in my career, I didn't understand that the Fed dropping rates is referring to the federal funds rate, not that they're dropping mortgage rates. Often, a reduction in mortgage rates does follow a drop in the federal funds rate, but not always. Last week, our company, Place, hosted Dr. Lawrence Yun, the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, for a company-wide economic update. And he shared some very relevant data that I had never seen before that could significantly impact whether or not all the excitement we're hearing about the Fed dropping interest rates is actually going to trickle down to mortgage rates very much at all. Now, Dr. Yun and the National Association of Realtors projected 6 to 8 rounds of interest rate cuts to the federal funds rate. But as you can see on this graph, he does not necessarily project the same trajectory of reductions for mortgage rates. And why might that be? Dr. Yun shared this slide from the Congressional Budget Office showing the government spending outlay of the current administration, as indicated by the red line, against the current tax revenue indicated by the green bars, explaining that when the tax deficit is this significant, because the government is borrowing so much, there's less private capital to go into the mortgage market. Now, looking at this chart, you can see why this year, maybe more than ever, monetary policy of the opposing candidates is something to really pay attention to because it could have a direct impact on the housing market and whether or not we see mortgage rates follow the downward trajectory of the cuts to the federal funds rate. Kamala Harris's proposed solution to the tax deficit is to increase tax revenue, the green line, to meet government spending, the red line, while Donald Trump's proposed solution is to cut government spending instead. Regardless of which monetary policy you personally agree with, regardless of whether mortgage rates come down to roughly 6% as projected by Dr. Yun, did you know that currently, as it stands today, mortgage rates are at a 52-week low? 30-year fixed rates have come down a full 1% from this time last year and are currently at about 6.35%. I know a lot of buyers had considered waiting on interest rates to drop. Maybe you were thinking you wanted to wait until they hit the mid-5s. Potentially that may or may not happen. But let me show you some real quick math on what a 1% reduction in interest rate looks like to help you decide if waiting still makes sense for you and your family. Roughly a 1% reduction in interest rate equals a 10% reduction of your monthly payment. Based on our median sale price in Worcester County at $450,000, if we approximated a $3,000 a month mortgage payment, a 10% savings is $300 per month. Multiply that by 12 and you're saving $3,600 a year by waiting for mortgage rates to drop into the mid-5s, which would be awesome. And both Dr. Yun and Goldman Sachs project a 5% increase in home prices next year. Now, at our $450 median sale price, that translates to paying $22,500 more by waiting for interest rates to come down. So if you're ready to talk in detail about selling or buying or adding to your real estate investment portfolio, reach out to me today.